Christmas cookies for everybody that we're supposed to eat on Christmas, but I'm stealing them. And I think she knows that. All right, so today we're going to talk about. Once we start talking about it, you're going to go. Of course, one of those things that once you see it, you kind of can't unsee it. It's like, oh wow, that's been there all the time. And that's the birth of Jacob and Esau and their relationship, and what that really means for us from a spiritual perspective. Abraham has Isaac and Ishmael, and Isaac gets the blessing. Legally the firstborn, because the son of the slave woman Hagar doesn't count according to the law, but spiritually the secondborn. And now Isaac gets married, and his wife has twins, Jacob and Esau. And Esau is the firstborn of the twins only by moments, but he is the firstborn. And then something happens later in life. There's this sibling rivalry that they have. And according to Hebrew custom and tradition and law, Esau gets the blessing and the inheritance. And that's simply the way that it is. And Jacob gets the leftovers. But what happens is Jacob, at his mother's urging, becomes a liar and a thief. And he steals the blessing and the inheritance, deceives his father, and lies to him, and gets the blessing. And of course the rivalry continues, and Jacob has to leave, and he runs off to a distant country, but he takes with him the knowledge that he has the blessing and the inheritance of his father. Years later, when reconciliation seems to be happening, Jacob is exceedingly anxious about the reconciliation, to the point where he's having nightmares and dreams and wrestling with angels, and he's physically sick. He walks with a limp. Just a lot of stuff happens to him because he was a thief and a liar. And Esau, when they finally do reunite, Esau seems to be perfectly okay. It's like, whatever. And Jacob goes, oh. And so they live together. And it's this paradigm of the blessing and the inheritance being given outside the law and to the second child. That is, it's dramatic, it's so obvious, and so now comes the link that I want to share with you. And the link is, Jesus tells a story about this. We may not know that it's this particular story, but it is a story about this idea. A man had two sons, and the elder son lived according to the law, but the younger son did not. And so he squandered. It's very Jacob Esau kind of story. And from God's perspective, this is the story of Israel and the Gentiles. Israel is to receive the blessing, but they despise it, much like Esau did. And so the blessing of God is then given to the younger son, yes, the one who squanders it, but genuinely returns in repentance and humility. That is, the pagans or the Gentiles who receive the blessing, Israel and the church. And And it runs throughout all of the history of Israel. Israel continues to despise God's choice of them, and to kind of thumb their nose at God. And then God has others outside of the nation of Israel, liars and thieves, whose hearts get turned and they become the church. And I think it's so profound to see how incredibly large God's heart is to love people like me who were born outside of the Jewish nation, and yet he accepts me, a liar and a thief, whose heart is turned. I am literally stealing cookies. So, how is it that Jacob becomes the blessed? It's astounding, isn't it? That is the nature of our God, who loves both the firstborn and the secondborn, both the Jew and the Gentile. His desire is for us to be adopted, to receive the inheritance that has been promised to us. That's what he wants. That's why he came. That's why he doesn't give up. He keeps coming. And so this Christmas, just remember that God came for you, to make you part of his family. What a great God we serve. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and this is a great week of fellowship and serving for you. Please, if you live in the Tampa area, please don't spend Christmas alone. At our church, we have a meal on Christmas Day, and you're more than welcome to come at 11:30 and sit and be with other people and enjoy conversation. God bless you, and you have a great week. I'll see